Briefings. And now our next press briefing, which we dedicate to the first anniversary of Maidan. That is the special project Maidan Rebirth of the Nation first year. We will be talking to volunteers who were helping all the activists who were at Maidan. And now I will invite the heroes of the medical 100, the medicians who were saving lives of the wounded at Maidan. We'll be talking to Oksana Sevak, Valentina Varava, Volodymyr Sevastyanov, Andrei Borisenko, and Valentina Varava is a psychologist, and they are all the doctors, and they will talk about their plans for the future. Good afternoon. I am happy to introduce my colleagues. These are not just my colleagues, but my friends. We all met at Maidan. When we came to Maidan, no one thought that we'll be working there as doctors. Why I want to say that? Because we all know why we were at Maidan. But the fact that we were working there, it happened because somehow the doctors went into politics, but we just believe that our work is to help people, to save people's lives, irrespective of political force that is in power, irrespective of who is the chief doctor, but our work is about helping people. In Maidan, you know what was happening. Our hospitals were not taking our patients, and we were doing what we were doing. And we all met there. We all became friends after that. It's a year almost after, but we cannot go back to the life that we had a year ago. We continue to work in the, assisting ATO. Life of everyone has changed. We work as volunteers. My colleagues left their jobs, and they dedicated their lives to restoring all we have lost and to helping wounded. And I would like to give every one of them the floor. They will tell about what they were doing, what they are doing, what are their plans. And I would like to address my colleagues who were not at Maidan, and they often ask me, and so what have you achieved at Maidan? And I want to say that I believe that the war is not the consequence of Maidan. It's a continuation of Maidan, and that is the continuation of our fight for our nation, for our dignity, and we will in the future continue to help our guys to come back to the ranks. We have paramedics. These are my friends, girls. They came to Maidan. They were not just psychologists, but they were working physically with patients. They were physically taking wounded people out of Maidan, and then the guys will say a few words. So Valentina Varava. Good afternoon. I would like to say that I came to Maidan, first of all, to help people to communicate, understanding that all were in the situation of very lengthy strengths. Then I started cooking and so on. From the 19th of January, we had different situation. It was dangerous to get to the hospital, and I went to the ambulance hospital, and you should have seen how all the entrances and exits to ambulance hospitals were blocked by people who were not allowing anyone to take patients away from there. And then I saw that just medical assistance is needed, and from on the 18th, from 9 o'clock in the morning till the 19th, till 10 o'clock in the morning, for 25 hours, we were in this area around Maidan, and all our skills were in need, and we were helping everyone. Then we became this field hospital at Luteranska 22, and now we are happy to learn that some of those people who we were helping, they are safe and sound. And so we were providing this first medical aid in the field, the hospital, and now we grew into initiative Plus, and we are helping wounded via Czech Foundation, People in Need, and via Caritas. I am trying to help with medical kits. We have many of our patients in ATO zone, and we are preparing the medical kits and take them to the east. A week ago, we went to Starobelsk, Novodar, Счастье, Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, Artemivsk, Slavyansk. And in 2 checkpoints, they said that we have everything, and that is our mission. That is what we are doing now. Katerina Bolshakova. I will speak Russian. It will be easier. I am not a doctor. I am a physicist, and I am paramedic, and I came to Maidan because I could not sit at home and watch it on TV. And from a certain point of time, I started helping wounded people. And I worked there at this hospital at Grushevskaya Street that was organized by Oksana Sivak. Besides, I would like to thank mobile team of volunteers of the Red Cross. That team was organized by Taras Loginov, and all people who were there, only few of them are medical doctors, but most people were just rendering first aid. But now all this work continues because on the basis of the National Committee of Red Cross and our mobile team of volunteers, Taras Loginov created the project Shapito, and it's providing assistance to civilians who are in ATO zone and to our military. And this project is about, we all go there to the east of Ukraine, to ATO zone. We monitor the situation. We talk to local hospitals, to the ambulance doctors, to military, to the heads of municipal services who render assistance to military, to civilians, and to people who are displaced. And Czechs and Germans are also providing assistance. They sent a new ambulance, and we now turn it into rehabilitation mobile hospital. We are now looking for the artificial ventilation of lungs equipment, and if there is any possibility to help this project, that would be great. How could we help? How could people help this project? Is there any information about that? You can do that directly at the National Committee of the Red Cross and contact Taras Loginov, who is the organizer of the project and who's responsible for that. But the account, well, it's better to help not in money but in equipment and medicines. You can see that on a web page at Facebook. Thank you.
Let's listen to Volodymyr Samostyanov. Good afternoon. Having survived Maidan, you know, this is the third Maidan for me, 1990, 2004, and this one. There was a revolution, so we made acquaintances, all the medics, you know. I was at the medical point in Luteranska, in Zhutnevy. After it was seized by Berkut, we went away and organized the helping point in Prorezhna Street. I bow my head before the medics who were not afraid even after the laws that guaranteed 15 years for everyone. I want to thank everybody that they helped us without any regard to ethnicity or religion or whatever else. I thank everybody, and I want to see everyone during the anniversary so that we see each other in peaceful times. Our rehabilitation mobile was working in summer. We were checking the work of medical establishments, and there was also, we saw that there was a niche about the evacuation of patients from district hospitals to central hospital. Then the idea was born, which we are continuing now, and the work with volunteers in order for the organization to be single-minded. And Andrei will tell you in more detail about our idea. I won't tell you much about Maidan. My only message is that my Maidan is going on, and the war is just for what we were fighting on Maidan. After Maidan, I went to National Guards. I'm a reserve officer of the National Guards, and it turned out so that we met again with Volodymyr. But of course we maintained some connection, but we met each other as comrades in arms. And then in the anti-terrorist operation zone, we saw terrible problems that they have there. An absolute majority of losses are losses between the front line and medical establishments. I won't tell you the figures because I don't know them. And the figures are much, much, much higher than the ones that should be, so to say, normal. We wanted to do something, so we organized Hippocrates, a medical volunteer battalion. Regrettably, all our visits to the Kiev authorities have not produced any results, and we had to make a public organization out of our medical battalion. So it is there. We're starting our work, and what I want to tell you most of all is that we announced the campaign for people to join our medical battalions, and anesthesiologists and operational sisters and surgeons and drivers of ambulances. We invite you to the ranks of our medical battalion. What we are going to do, we'll try to approximate the doctors' help, doctors, not medical help, and specialized doctors' help as close to the front line as possible, so that to avoid the deaths of our patients. How many people do you want to involve? It all depends. We are relying absolutely on volunteers. We asked for help from the state. Well, they did not refuse us, but they did not help us either. So all the cars are sent, vehicles are sent by volunteers. All the medicines are given by volunteers, and everybody who'll come to us are volunteers, as many as possible. We have an idea of a primary module, which is a car for bandaging and several reanimation mobiles that will, after the initial help is given, they will bring the wounded farther from the front line. So it depends how active the people who help us are. You can find us in Facebook, Hippocrat, Ukrainians Medical Volunteer Battalion. Do you have any equipment at the moment? 2 reanimation mobiles are going to us, intensive care mobiles are going to us from Germany, and we are looking for the bandage car. As soon as we find it, and I think it will be within 2 or 3 weeks, we will be there. About the hands, about the surgeons and doctors who will go there, how do you think, are there many volunteers? Taking into account that our medicine on the state level is absolutely miserable situation. This is not the issue at all. We came to Maidan not in order to get some money or whatever. I tell you, my Maidan has not ended, and there's a lot of people like me. So you continue to believe in Maidan's ideas. I met those people on the front line with whom we were on different sides of the barricades. I was curing, treating them, and I tell you that there are people there, and in many cases those people love Ukraine. I don't know who will go to the third Maidan. We have to fight and win over the dangerous plug that moves towards us from the north. But if there is a Maidan, are you going to join it? I want to support my colleague. The Maidan has not ended for us. What is going on now is the Maidan that started last year. Now we see the roots of this Maidan, and now we see the real enemy. If previously we were thinking about who is this third force, who was shooting, who was financing, I think that now we understand this very well. I'm not as brave as most of my colleagues. I'm the one who didn't go to the front. But I'm here in the rear. I help them, and many people did not come here because they are working at the moment. So who is brave enough to go? This is very good. Who will be in the rear because of some reasons. We still need you, we need hands, we need heads, we need money. We are open, and we also need ideas and resources, because people who have the idea, they go further. We're telling you about the first medical help. All this is very good, but as for instance NATO armies say, what do you have to do after this? After this, helicopter will take you away, but of course we don't have helicopters. Well, for instance, you have treated the wounds of a wounded soldier. What further? Then there will be professional brigades that will help them. Another question, maybe you have the answer to it. When the combat action started in the east of Ukraine, it is understandable that our army was in a miserable state, and the volunteers were providing them with the most necessary. Now the situation is better. We have cooperation with international volunteers. We have foreign medicines and paraphernalia. As far as the percentage goes, what is the level of provision of the Ukrainian army by medical supplies? Maybe 50%, 10%.
You know, the situation is there is statistical information, there is truth, and there is reality. If we just take into account how much was taken there, everyone should have been supplied with everything. But the lot that volunteers are sending is stored in warehouses. My colleagues maybe know better or know more. So we're trying to deliver it to specific people. If we have a medical kit, we give it to some servicemen so that they do not have to wait till it gets to them from the warehouses. What is important is the control, the public control, because a lot of assistance comes from volunteers from other countries, but we need to monitor that it reaches the consumers. How do you control that? We have contacts with all the regiments, with all the troops. We have people who we ask, how many people you have? 100 people. Does everyone have a medical kit? Because when they say we have everything, we immediately want to call a specific person and ask, do you have a medical kit? We are just delivering it into the hands. The winter is close, and we are still working on that. Can you comment? I will comment, because we were in regional hospitals. We were bringing medical assistance, medicines. We were at the front line. Our principle is from hands to hands. I believe that 50% is too realistic, maybe 10-15%. That is what is there, what the servicemen have. But what's in the warehouses, we cannot say. All the volunteers understand that you need to deliver it to soldiers, not to commanders of battalions or so on. Then another question. I'm sorry, I would also like to add what I saw myself. We were in Novaydar and in Shastya. We were talking to the head of the hospital, and the director of hospital came from Shastya. They have nothing. They don't have bandages, nothing, not X-ray machines. That was on the 10th, no, in October, end of October. The same situation is in Popasna. That's where I was. We talked to the doctor of the ambulance and he requested to bring bandages even. We gave him everything we had in our car. And that is not about military, it's about civilians. Even if the guys have something, not everyone knows how to use these things. Xelox, for example, they don't know what to do with that. And the 3 months, our volunteers of the Red Cross, they lecture, they deliver trainings. And on the 7th, on the 8th, on the 9th of November, they were in Volnovakha and they were teaching servicemen, and servicemen were very grateful for that. When you see the situation when they have nothing there, do you report about that to the Ministry of Defense, to the medical department of the Ministry of Defense, so that they understand? Even on Saturday they were talking about that, and they say they have everything. And they said, bring us facts, so we'll be working on facts. Maybe they are sending, but maybe there's no coordination, no system that would check. The ministry is sending, but they need to control that. So we, doctors and just the activists, we are doing it. Any questions? You explained in which conditions the hospitals operate. Could you give us more details? Because even in peaceful times, the hospitals were not very well supplied with everything, but now the situation is awful. And the second question, the doctors, well, are people who help, but who helps doctors? Because that's a big burden, physical and psychological. And I believe that they are people and they need help.
Varao is a psychologist, maybe she will comment. As far as the help to medics, again, volunteers help, including help to medical volunteers. Someone helps another, and praise God that we do not feel bad at the same time. As far as details are concerned, we were to hospitals, we talked to people, and the situation is that there are no specialists actually. And for instance, the hospital in the city of Shastya, we talked to the chief medical commander, and in Novy Aidar, in Starobilsk, approximately 2 or 3 specialists remain, and there's no brigades there. Another part of the problem is that there are volunteers, medics, doctors who would work from Kharkiv or other cities, but this is, a serious problem, because some people come from no one knows where, and as they start to perform surgery, and they don't have legal right to this. So if the hospital sends them on a mission, then they may do this. If there is an instruction from the Ministry of Public Health, if people want to go, then the chief medic has to contact their colleagues in the East. The procedure is there. I helped someone to do this, and your job is retained and your salary is preserved. There is a procedure. The major thing is the desire to do this. And are there many people who want to go from the regions? I think not so many. Andrei knows more about this. When I heard your question, I wanted to say one of the major tenets of the military medicine is it is military who treat military. You know, our war is not a usual one. And for instance, the Israeli scheme where civil hospitals are used to treat wounded people does not work every time. This is not a mass phenomenon, but I did see sabotage of local doctors. This did happen. I again say this is not a mass phenomenon. People, there are doctor patriots, people work there, but and of course political views influence them. I won't dwell on this in detail because you know this is not a very good topic, but I did face sabotage, and if not our battalion, then the hospitals should use our own medics, those who are on our side. Then the deliveries and supplies, regrettably, and we should talk about this, there are cases of embezzlement, especially on the third line in the rear. There's embezzlement of volunteer help. And the last point, our battalion is the first step. We have a concept of further development of this idea up to the development of the doctrine for the entire nation if there's a need. This is not just words. We have some things already worked out. There's an initiative group. We have applied much effort to this. I'd like our leaders to hear this. And my last question probably will be addressed to Andriy. Ukraine has elected the new parliament. There was a great expectation that people from Maidan will come there and people who share the values of Maidan. What are your expectations of the new parliament, especially taking into account the new composition of the parliament? I do hope that my expectations will be met, but I'm very disappointed that there's a so-called opposition bloc, the Party of Regions, and the rest, let them work. We'll see. I expect support from the new parliament and constructive work. My colleagues, if there are no other questions, then thank you very much, our medics. We have always respected doctors, and in the situation that Ukraine is now, and the situation where they work, and we thank you very much. And at the end of this day, you'll see our schedule of work for tomorrow. Thank you.